Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to wing this a little bit. I'm going to ask for folks' patience. We had a presentation planned for myself and Dan Lammot. Dan Lammot is the CEO and founder of a company called Threshold.world that we're working very closely with to implement our nonprofit solutions. Dan got delayed by weather today, so we're not going to go through the live demo. I'll do a click-through demo to show how we're implementing nonprofit functionality directly into D365. So I belong to a team at Microsoft called Tech for Social Impact. We're a relatively new team inside the company, and we're focused on working directly with nonprofits, with philanthropies, and with the United Nations organizations to help them adopt digital technology. Oftentimes, it's not just a conversation about the tool. This is also about capacity building, it's about change management, and it's about how we work with nonprofits left to right to help support them through the whole process of adopting technology for operational efficiency and for programmatic efficacy. So when I joined Microsoft a couple years ago, one of the first things that I did was develop a reference architecture that helped me do three things. One was be able to talk to the company about what some of the unique scenarios are that nonprofits face, and we have a level 100, 200, and 300 of this now, and talk about where we have relative strengths on our platforms and where we have opportunities where we can invest to be stronger, have more purpose-built solutions for unique nonprofit scenarios. Second, did that same thing with partners and worked with many different partners. Microsoft works with tens of thousands of partners around the world. Some of those partners have purpose-built technology for the sector today, Mission CRM and others, for example. And others are relatively new to the sector, and we wanted to make sure we were supporting those organizations that were working with nonprofits and that we are recruiting new organizations into the nonprofit ecosystem in an ethical way. And then lastly, I used that model to go directly out to talk with nonprofits themselves and understand from organizations where they felt we could be most impactful in working with them. And one of the first places then that we took that in hearing directly from nonprofits is to build out a common data model. This is an industry extension to Microsoft's generic CDM built on CE today, and you're hearing more about that in the sessions over these couple of days. And it is representative of best practices in the nonprofit sector. We're working with a cross-functional team of data architects, enterprise architects, M&E officers, C-level leaders in nonprofits large and small, together with institutional donors like DFID and private foundations like the Gates Foundation and others to create a common lexicon that can serve almost like a Rosetta Stone for nonprofits to be able to aggregate data across multiple platforms and utilize that data in the course of designing their digital solutions. We take that model, we publish it to GitHub, it's generic for any platform. We're not precious about that. This is a common data model for nonprofits. It's not a Microsoft common data model. We think we get the most innovation, the most impact if we get multiple partners adopting it. We incorporate that into the rest of our stack. So we want to be the first best customer of it. So the common data model that we have published to GitHub, we take that, we incorporate it into the schema of Dynamics, we incorporate it into our Power Platform solutions, we incorporate it into our solutions that integrate with organizations that are maybe only working with us in Office, or in Dynamics, or in Azure and data and AI. So we initially launched this in November of last year. That was our first take on it. It was a modest launch at that point. It was created a huge movement just that Microsoft was doing this and wanted to do this with multiple partners. So we launched in November last year with 14 partners. We've since done 2 additional launches. We're now on V2 of the Common Data Model and the Dynamics Accelerator. We're at over 60 partners today. And these are partners many organizations you have heard of but may not associate with Microsoft's brand, like Blackbaud, or Jackson River, or Classy, or Flux, or others, are now organizations that are aligning to the common data model. Blackbaud's investing in creating purpose-built solutions that integrate the best of their fundraising solutions together with the best of Dynamics, finance, and operations. There are also partners like Avanade and Mission CRM and SparkRock and Stratus Live and others that have been investing as ISVs into the nonprofit sector and are now working on the common data model to deliver solutions that are aligned with our roadmap using those best practices and lowering the cost of implementation for nonprofit. And finally, net new partners, partners like Threshold.world, which is a startup begun by Dan Lammot. Dan was the founder and former CEO of Round Corner, Salesforce.org's largest ISV. Left that company to start a new company to work directly with us on realizing the potential that we could reap on Microsoft stack technology for the sector. We have also dozens of nonprofits that have implemented since our launch in November and selected Dynamics as a platform through partners like Quantic, through partners like SparkRock on Business Central and other platforms. This has been quite a shift in the sector. We have a lot of feedback from both nonprofit customers as well as partners who think this is one of the biggest transformative things that is happening in the nonprofit sector today. Microsoft's committed to it, we're putting our brand behind it, and we're investing quite a lot in multiple iterations and working directly with ISVs and SIs on how to implement against the standards. So this was the part in the demo where I transitioned to Dan, and Dan ran a live demonstration of the Accelerator in Dynamics. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a click-through demo and talk about how some of the features that we've built out are realized in Dynamics as a tool. So first, a little bit about how Microsoft works in this way. So we're investing as a company in Dynamics. You know, Dynamics is an 80% solution generic to any industry. And then we take the common data model and we've built an industry extension for nonprofits on that common data model. We then take that data model and we incorporate it into the schema of Dynamics. We're not creating the finished products ourselves, that's what our ISVs are doing. So we're trying to lower the barrier of entry for ISVs to enter the nonprofit market and create purpose-built solutions for nonprofits that make it easy for them to tap advanced technology, utilizing best practices and utilizing standards. So what you're going to see here, it's not polished UI, but it gives you a flavor of how we realize the data model into the tool. So we'll start first with the sitemap. And in the sitemap, you can see how we've modeled constituents, fundraising, grants and awards, delivery framework, the IATI standard I'll talk about in just a moment. Where we started our modeling was around program delivery. We didn't want to have the center of our model be the constituent, we wanted the center of our model to be the mission of the nonprofit itself. What are nonprofits trying to achieve? Are they aligning to SDG goals, the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations? Are they aligning to specific goals within health and human services? What are they trying to achieve in their mission? And then how do you organize the programs, projects, and activities under that and associate then a results framework for your output, outcome, and impact tied to then indicator and indicator value so you can engage an M&E modeling around this and communicate value back to your donor. Once we modeled that part, we worked upstream for then how do you have traceability from your program and project to your donors, multiple kinds of donors, so now you can be responsive back to your donors on where is the money coming from, how is it being used, how are you tracking the restrictions and the limitations on the funding that donors put on you, and then be able to tell a story back about the results you're achieving. Now, going then into some specifics about how to manage the constituents, what the constituent management looks like, and then into the program delivery section itself. So now in Dynamics, you can get a total view of all of your active constituents in an organization, and I'm using constituents deliberately. Constituents in nonprofit, it could be a donor, it could be a volunteer, it could be a board member, it could be a beneficiary. A single individual could have all of those roles, at once. Was talking with a child sponsorship organization this morning. Even as children graduate their programs, they're always a beneficiary. They always want to be able to track what those kids are doing later in life and have some traceability back to the efficacy of their programs 10, 20, 30 years down the line. So in Dynamics, we treat contacts and accounts are both first-level objects, and you don't duplicate the contact every time you have a new account relationship, so that you can have a single contact. That contact has multiple associations to your organization, and you can parse each of those associations, each of those accounts, to have different workflows and different ways that you engage with them. You may engage with them very differently, thinking about them as a donor, than as a volunteer, than as a beneficiary. So then clicking into that, Now, so clicking on Bertram, here's Bertram's record. You can see Bertram has taken some training, is working as a volunteer, has some specific skills that are related to the organization, but Bertram also has different associations. Bertram has also been a donor, both an in-kind donor and donating cash, as well as has different memberships. And so donors have now different membership levels. You can classify donors in different ways, associate membership programs back to them. From the constituent record, we're going to now back out and go into the program delivery, starting with organization objectives. So these are top level objectives that you assign to your organization. Could be an SDG goal, could be a goal around economic mobility or education. So in this case, we're going to click into the education objective and look at a program. So the program here, you have now in one place. It brings together all of the inbound funds from different donors, different kinds of funding. So it could be individual grants, could be individual contributions, could be grants from a foundation, it could be in-kind donations that then tie back to the program itself and tie to a results framework for how the organization is tracking the efficacy of its work, what it's trying to achieve, the indicators, the indicator baselines here that they're tracking, so that they can then start to measure the impact the work is having. Then clicking into some of those indicator values, now you're seeing the connection from the screen previously on how the organization is delivering education courses to now here are the beneficiaries, here are the individuals consuming that education. So now here you could imagine the constituents in the earlier screens could be both a donor and someone who's participating in the training as well. And so this brings together all of the functionality for the constituent 360 together with the program delivery components. Where we're going with this solution next is we're taking all of the effort that we put into the first versions of the common data model and the accelerator, and we're building that out to connect to finance and operations. So what we recognize is that from a programmatic perspective, the program officers, the people on the ground doing the work, often have a very different view of a project and a program than an accountant will. So how you book those transactions, how you deal with restrictions or release of restrictions, how you recognize revenue, there has to be a different account structure that we're creating now on the F&O side and tying that back through program delivery and tying it back to donors. So ultimately what we'll get to when I showed that first screen is a left to right view of a data model across all the different components a nonprofit has to face from the donor prospecting all the way through project closeout. So that's our V3. We're going to make some announcements about that around Inspire in July, so stay tuned. I'm not announcing anything new today, as we are wont to say. So with that, a few minutes for questions. Happy to answer anything or have any kind of discussion after this. It's a small crowd. Hi. Yep. Yeah, great question. So the question was, we're on V2 of the CDM and how drastic were the changes between V1 and V2. So in the first version, we focused on program delivery and constituent. And in the second version, we built out the connections to beneficiaries, we built out volunteer management, and we layered in the IATI standards. So IATI is the International Aid Transparency Initiative. It's a data standard for measuring results that's backed by UK Aid, DFID, and the United Nations, and mandatory for organizations that accept aid from DFID and other country aid agencies. So that was the big piece. There's some cool components around IATI where we have the whole organization and activity structure loaded and all the translation, the narrative translation. So you could do data collection in the native language in a field office and have that translated into your headquarters language. So those are the main differences. There's a ton of documentation around the data model and the accelerator itself. Everything's available on GitHub and on AppSource, including hundreds of pages of documentation for how you or your partners can ramp into the solution. Any other questions? All right, Cool, thanks. I'm around today and tomorrow. We have a session tomorrow morning. I'll be doing another theater session with THR2064, who's going to show a Power BI solution that they developed for their PEPFAR program. And then I'm doing a session at the end of the day tomorrow that's a more in-depth look on our whole strategy for how we're investing in the common data model, investing in Dynamics, and investing in data and AI and in Office. And so I'll talk more about our overall solution strategy then. All right, thanks.